Lots and lots of singers use AutoTune these days, and lots of people have issues with that. A lot of people say that if you use AutoTune, you just simply don't know how to sing. But is that really true? I wanted to investigate this, so I listened to every song that uses AutoTune. Okay, I didn't, but that would be the YouTube thing to do, right? Well, good thing I'm not a YouTuber. I saw a YouTube video the other day where basically this channel called The First Take was being exposed for using AutoTune in these so-called raw and unedited performances. First off, no hate at all to Wings of Pegasus for talking about this. I kind of get why he was pointing this out when this is their channel trailer.
No direction, just one mic in a white studio. No retakes, no matter what kind of accidents or mistakes may happen on stage. And no faking. The passionate sweat and tears is all untouched and unedited.
All untouched, but they touch it up, I guess. I'm not sure how that works, but you know, that's their thing. But yeah, so no hate to Wings of Pegasus. His content is actually super interesting. You guys should go check it out if you haven't. But The First Take, the funny thing is, I don't think this channel got big solely because of the concept that they have of like these unedited performances. I feel like the channel would have gotten big regardless because of the names that they have on there. I also kind of get that these singers really have nothing at all to gain by having these unedited performances and potentially sounding bad. So they can really only lose from it, you know? Like if they don't use AutoTune and then they sound horrible, like the internet's just gonna trash them. So they have everything in the world to lose. Anyway though, Wings of Pegasus was, honestly, he was just talking about it and not really being too harsh on it, just kind of pointing it out. But I feel like a lot of the comments were being super harsh and acting like they had like been scammed out of money or something because they just found out this info. So it made me wonder, why do people really hate AutoTune so much? So that's the question we're gonna answer today. So to answer that question, let's go a bit back to where AutoTune even came from in the first place. Funny enough, like a lot of things in this world, AutoTune actually came to be because of the oil business. Andy Hildebrand, he developed early AutoTune essentially using sound waves to look for oil, is what I think is my understanding. Because of his love for music on top of his love for oil, I guess, he ended up developing Antares Audio Technologies, which I'm never sure how to say that name, so I probably said it wrong. Sometime in the 90s he invented that, and boom, the music industry changed forever, literally forever. Now, when Cher released her song Believe and just basically cranked AutoTune, like the AutoTune settings all the way up, this really put eyes on what AutoTune was all about, especially because of how huge that song was. Like that song was such a huge success and it had AutoTune on it, like noticeable AutoTune, so it really put eyes on that. And for younger people, we obviously talk about T-Pain putting AutoTune on the map, but I'm gonna get to that a bit later. Obviously, people like Cher and T-Pain keep AutoTune very noticeable in their songs, but there's artists who use AutoTune in a subtle way to fix small little tiny errors in their vocal performances, which was actually the original intended use of music AutoTune, right? Not the oil AutoTune, obviously. And this is where people start to have trust issues with artists and say that AutoTune really ruined the music industry. So you could really just be hearing a song and it doesn't have like blatant AutoTune, so you think, wow, this is a really good singer. And then you might hear them live and they sound absolutely atrocious. Like I'm sure that's happened to a lot of people. And yeah, a lot of people blame AutoTune for that. Taking it one step even further, some singers use AutoTune in real time for live performances because technology just gotten to that point where you can do that. Now, personally, as someone that goes to a ton of concerts, I don't really care if a singer's using AutoTune as long as the performance is still good. Like, am I crazy for thinking that AutoTune doesn't really take away from a performance? And honestly, sometimes, especially if it's like a subtle AutoTune just to like help with the little imperfections, it could probably just make the performance better. Because, you know, they are performances at the end of the day. And while having like untouched performances is cool, I personally, I don't see anything wrong with having touched up performances. I also don't think that a singer using AutoTune means that they can't sing, which is what a lot of people argue is the case when artists use AutoTune. A lot of people say that artists just can't sing these days and they just rely on AutoTune, but this is just not true. So the way AutoTune works is you kind of just edit a note to bring it up to the correct pitch or down to the correct pitch. So if you sing a note and it's just a tiny bit off, AutoTune can feel very subtle because the singer's still doing a majority of the work. The AutoTune is just bringing it, you know, just to the perfect pitch, if that makes sense. I know, right? That's hard to believe for a lot of people that the artist is still doing a majority of the work. But for the most part, I will say for the most part, not entirely true. You can't just not be able to sing and then just sound amazing with AutoTune. If there's a horrible singer, the AutoTune would probably be way more noticeable because it has to do a lot more work to bring those notes to the correct pitch. Is it possible? Of course, obviously there's people who can't sing and they use AutoTune and they sound like angels. I'm not saying that's not the case. But are all singers who use AutoTune horrible singers? No. I hope I said that correct. Now, I mentioned T-Pain before, and I think he's just a perfect example of why using AutoTune means you're not a bad singer. T-Pain is known for really being the modern day singer that made noticeable AutoTune popular in music. Originally, AutoTune was meant to correct just tiny imperfections in music like I mentioned before, but T-Pain was really one of the first singers to really use AutoTune as an instrument, other than probably Cher. I'm sure there's some in between Cher and T-Pain, but like T-Pain was really known for revolutionizing AutoTune. And T-Pain actually went to the creator of AutoTune, who I talked about earlier, who loves oil, as we know, to learn how AutoTune works. And obviously that paid off for him because when people think AutoTune, they think T-Pain. Like I would say probably like 99% of people, you think AutoTune, you think T-Pain. Now for the longest time, everyone thought T-Pain can't sing, right? Why else would he use AutoTune on his songs? Wrong. That man can really, really sing.
Oh, here she comes. When all these other girls in here just for me.
And he's proven time and time again that he can sing, and he just uses AutoTune as an instrument rather than as a crutch, you know? Like even when bro was on the Masked Singer, he shocked everybody by showing that he does not need AutoTune. And this wasn't the first time that he proved it either. In reality, you know, AutoTune just needed him the whole time. I feel like I can end the video right here because T-Pain really proves that people who can sing can still use AutoTune. It doesn't mean they can't sing. You know what? Actually, I will end the video right here. Bye-bye. Oh, I guess I'm back because that wasn't enough evidence for you, I guess. Now, another modern artist who uses AutoTune as an instrument, I would say is Charli XCX, who she's really blown up in the last couple years. And honestly, I don't really see her fans complaining about her use of AutoTune. So why do other people complain about AutoTune? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. From what I see, most of the people who hate on AutoTune are elitists or rock purists, if that's a thing, who are really into classic rock or singers from times of the past. They say, see, these old singers never had to use AutoTune. They're obviously better singers. Man, these modern day singers really suck. I kind of like very, very little understand that sentiment, but at the same time, it really gives off that back in my day vibe that is just lame to have and no one likes. Now, while I understand that sometimes that raw vocal with like no correction can feel more emotional sometimes, does unnoticeable AutoTune really take away from that? Like, I feel like these people that hate on AutoTune would be perfectly fine with a song that has that unnoticeable AutoTune, and then they find out one day the song actually has AutoTune, and it will change their opinions like on the song immediately. They'll do a whole 180 and start to hate the song and say, no, there's no emotion in that song. Also, if you look at like while doing research for this video, I saw a Reddit thread about Adele, Like, I don't think anyone in the world would say that she is a bad singer. I mean, I'm sure there's people that would, but those people are dumb. Most people would probably argue that she's one of the best modern day singers. But even then, people argue whether or not she uses AutoTune. I saw a giant Reddit thread, people arguing, does she use AutoTune? Does she use AutoTune? Like, if you can't tell if she uses AutoTune and you have to have this debate, then who truly cares? The music is good, and that's really where it should end. Like, why is it even a debate that if she uses AutoTune or not? Like, that's gonna change whether the music is good. Obviously you like the music, so why are you trying to investigate more? I don't know. Now I'm gonna show some of the comments on the Wings of Pegasus video that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, because you would really think that some of these people had their entire families murdered by AutoTune or something like that, the way that they're commenting. So I'll start off with this comment here that really sums up the entire comment section perfectly. It's right here. Hopefully, it's right here. The comments acting like it's a crime against humanity and acting like bots. I agree with this comment, so let's just, without further ado, let's just take a look. Oh, here's a comment from an old head saying what I said earlier. Give me the days of Styx, Journey, Chicago, and more on stage. Just musicians singing and playing their instrument, just talent. Which I'm not sure what he's alluding to with playing their instruments. Does he know that AutoTune doesn't affect the instruments? It's also funny because Journey recently was getting tons and tons of hate because their singer had a rough night when they were performing in, I think it was Brazil. The hate got to the point where he was even considering leaving the band. Like, I don't know if that was a joke or not on his end, but you know, he was getting so much hate for that. So what do these people want? If he had used AutoTune to not have that rough night that people heard, he would have gotten hate all the same. But I guarantee those same people that hate AutoTune were probably also complaining about his voice cracking a few times. I don't know, personally, I thought that was raw emotion. What happened there to the raw emotion? And this last comment here saying, can we go back to the days of authenticity in the music industry? This is disgraceful. I'm assuming they had their finger up like this while they were typing that too. Thanks for calling these frauds out. I think that's a funny comment because I'm sure if you ask literally probably any artist from the times that Carol over here is talking about, they'll most likely say that the music industry wasn't authentic then either. I think anything that involves making money, especially as much money as the music industry can make, is just gonna be inauthentic, you know? It's like bound to be inauthentic. There's no avoiding it. Even though whatever is inauthentic about it may change with the times, greed really comes out on top pretty much always. So why do people hate on AutoTune? Well, basically some people are music snobs that think that AutoTune means one, a singer doesn't know how to sing because they might sing a note off by 1 cent. And two, AutoTune removes the emotional aspect of singing that was in songs from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, anytime before AutoTune was invented. I generally don't think that someone who hates AutoTune can give me an actually good reason for hating it. But if you can think of something, you know, drop it down in the comments below because I'm actually interested. I try to get into the mindset of a hater of AutoTune and I fried my brain a little bit. So let me know in the comments. I also don't really fully understand the whole it's fraud thing because most singers don't claim that they aren't using AutoTune. And also it's not like they're stealing your money. I guess that depends on how you look at it, but like these days they're not stealing your money. You're paying for the streaming service anyways. So can someone explain that to me too? Is it from like the live performance you think you're getting scammed? I think most people wouldn't go to these shows that they're complaining about anyways. I guess what I'm saying is like if the song is good, the performance is good, why does it matter, one, how the song was created, and two, how the performance is good in the first place, you know? It's like these people that hate when bands use backing tracks live. I feel like those should be grouped together. Anyways, guys, I am sorry for the short and super rambly video today. It's just something I was curious about after watching a few videos about AutoTune. We should be back to our regularly scheduled programming very, very soon, so stick around for that. If you did like the video, please leave a like on the video and please subscribe. If you like and subscribe, I will go listen to Cher's song Believe right now. Maybe do a cover of it with AutoTune on my voice. Who knows? Yeah, but that's it. Bye-bye.